This is Matthew Hatchett, a.k.a. Hatch, and you are now listening to the One Bar and Lupikus Show.
All right, welcome back to the One Bar and Lupikus Show. In this show, we're going to be talking about some free agents, positions, some players that still could be on the table. We do one of these every month or so as we get deeper and deeper into this offseason. But one thing is clear, the Vikings are ready to shell out some cash. They've done it all offseason, mostly on the defensive side of the ball, but there's still some positions that could be looked at, and the Vikings have some money. According to overthecap.com, the Vikings still have $10.3 million in cap space. Yes, they could use some of that to do a restructure with Brian O'Neill, do something or extend him and make some moves. But if you were to tell me at this point in the season, with all the signings we made, we're still going to have $10.3 million available, I'd call you a damn liar. Rob Brzezinski, well done, well done, well done. So I don't think they're done. I think they might be done with their splashy moves. I think they made all the big moves. I think now we're getting into the signings that are not gross, but getting kind of gross, and are just kind of depth fillers and some backup plans. So let's hop right into it. So defensively, like I said, the Vikings are pretty set, but I do got one position on defense still. But let's start with the offensive side of the ball. When you look at like the lists as far as available free agents right now, there's still some pretty damn good free agents available. These are the guys that just kind of trickle in the training camp if there's an injury, or if the team realizes, oh shit, we have no depth there, we need to go sign a Russell Okung or somebody like that. So still some good names, but let's get into the Vikings. Right now, I have offensive line as still a pretty decent size. I wouldn't say need, but when it comes to depth, we got to fill in that depth. It's exciting to see what they're doing with the offensive line. Some big changes this year, obviously. But when you look at the depth right now, Rashad Hill, he's kind of our go-to as far as the backup tackle. But behind him on the depth chart right now is pretty much Oli Udoh as the other backup. And Oli Udoh is a guy who haven't seen Blake Brandel, but that gets thin, and that gets thin real quick. Same thing with guard. We know what we're dealing with at guard. So some names that stick out to me, Mitchell Schwartz, the old timer. I think he's about 32 coming off an injury. That's why he hasn't re-signed, but he's still playing at a high level. Ricky Wagner, while has not had a fantastic couple of seasons, still a good depth move. Joe Dahl had a horrible season last year. I'm sorry, this is sounding depressing, but these are just moves to fill in the depth chart. Guys that could come in and possibly work for one of those final spots on the roster. And of course, I have Brett Bush Jones. Brett Jones, still a free agent. We know how much the Vikings love him. He can play multiple positions. So those are some names on the offensive line that I think the Vikings could possibly look at. There are some bigger names out there, but again, we're bringing guys in that are going to be depth moves, or if somebody just completely steps on their hog, they put in. So those are guys on the offensive line. The other position on offense that I want to talk about is wide receiver. This is kind of a talker, especially on Twitter, where the Vikings really done at receiver. Yes, they're very, very top heavy, but after those top two, it gets fairly not great very quickly. Chad Beebe, BC Johnson, and we got some younger guys in. We brought in a handful of undrafted free agent wide receivers. Smith Marset is a name that is getting me very excited, but just don't really have the next guy up. And guys that stick out to me, Larry Fitzgerald, I'm putting him on the list, and I'm not even doing it just because it's a pipe dream and I want it to happen. I think there's a tiny chance this could actually happen, and it fits perfectly. He's a veteran, comes in, he could be that number 3 option, and Vikings fans' hearts would melt all over the place. So Larry Fitzgerald, I just seen an article where he is looking to, I think he really wants a ring though. So that as many as all the changes the Vikings made this offseason, don't think they're in that category. So we'll see what happens there. Other guys, guy we talked about, D.D. Westbrook, really dynamic wide receiver. Another one coming off an injury that teams probably just want to wait it out, and he could be a guy that's signed maybe in August. But D.D. Westbrook, return man, dynamic receiver, and kind of one other guy I want to mention on that same theme, a little bit older, Tavon Austin, a guy that could come in, be a number 3, and still be pretty damn good. So I think out of all the positions I'm going to mention, I think receiver might still be the one that they're really, really looking at to bring somebody in. And the final one I got here on defense, we know the Vikings went balls to the wall, balls deep, all in this offseason, but there's still one position that really sticks out to me as far as a potential need and a potential, oh shit moment if somebody goes down, and that's safety. Right now, we got Xavier Woods, Harrison Smith, behind him, Josh Metellus. They do have Cam Bynum, the rookie, at safety. And then Miles Dorn, Luther Kirk. So again, like receiver, very top heavy. One of those guys go down, it's going to get ugly. It's going to get ugly quick. So guys that I got out there, Kenny Vaccaro, Malik Hooker, two big names, but a couple names that have just kind of dwindled it over the last couple of years. So I think we could get them fairly cheap. And one other name, Sendejo. He is still a free agent. Andrew Sendejo. I still think that this could definitely still happen where they bring him back. What would this be, like his third time back? And special teams guy, depth guy, knows the defense, knows Zimmer, would be a perfect fit. Again, we're not looking for a starter. We're looking for decent depth, and Sendejo could add it. So while Hooker, Vaccaro get excited as far as their name recognition, I think Sendejo out of these three would be the most realistic. And those are the positions. Those are the guys that got standing out to me. Another one to look at, kicker. Right now, kicker's really not set in stone. If these guys are struggling early, I don't think they're going to waste any time and move on. Sounds like Greg Joseph is doing pretty damn good, but I think there's going to be a very, very short leash there. And linebacker could be one that they still look at too. They got money to spend. Like I said, they're not afraid to spend it this offseason, and I think they're going all in. So I expect that money, cap space, to hit the shitter real soon as they continue to bring guys in. Let me know in the comments who you think they might bring in, which position is still a need for the Minnesota Vikings.